Very excited to be here in Sacramento, California with Pepsi. This is a very busy site, like a lot of freight logistics locations are. It's open 24/7, moving beverages around Northern California. So if you thought these Tesla semis were a bit like Bigfoots, maybe you heard about them, maybe saw a picture, a fuzzy one, but you weren't sure they were real or not, we're here to show you that they are real. They're hauling real beverages for Pepsi here in Northern California. Zero emission, delivering goods every day.
Sacramento is one of our locations that really embodies our commitment to climate and our PepsiCo positive ambition. The facility is powered by solar. We've got 21 Tesla electric semis. They're associated for 750 kilowatt chargers, electric yard tractors, electric e-transits, and lithium-ion forklifts inside the warehouse here. Battery electric vehicles are essential for us, and it's really grounded in our duty cycle, i.e. how we use our assets, because the good majority of our business is anchored in going to market. We deliver predominantly under 100 miles on a daily basis and run those vehicles around 12 hours a day. So with that duty cycle, we feel that the battery electric vehicle is most advantageous in our decarbonization strategy.
It's a fairly mixed fleet, but majority of our fleet in terms of Pepsi is Class 8 heavy duty tractors. City transportation, which we refer to as delivery, is more localized, more regional. So typically on an average day, a driver might stop between 8 to 12 destinations along the route. The unique thing is that those tractors, for the most part, sit idle overnight. So majority of those routes are done from very early morning into the afternoon. In terms of the transport side of the business, these are much longer routes. So out of our 21 assets of Tesla Semi that we have here, 3 of them are dedicated to the long haul over the road routes. The routes may change or may vary between, let's call it 250 miles up to 450 miles. So we have been aggressive to push the limit and demonstrate that we are able to achieve a very high range with a fully loaded tractor with that fleet.
We have 2 shifts. We have drivers that start between 1 in the morning to 4 in the morning. And then our second shift, slip seats, starting around between 1 and 3 in the afternoon.
We service pretty much the Central Valley and the Northern California as far as transport's concerned. I could be loaded both ways. If I go to Bakersfield, I just do one day because the DOT hour is allowed to be driven. If I go to Fresno, I go to Fresno, come here, then I could take a geo route to Yuba City and drop it off. So it just depends on how far my first round is.
With the massive charger that we have, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and it's back up to 95% from like 5 or 10. So the turnaround is quick.
We knew that this was a transformative project. We also knew we wanted it here in Sacramento, and we committed right then internally to this project's success.
It was a 3-year process. So we had to bring near 3 megawatts of new service to the facility. At the time, the site was actually running off of 1 substation, meaning that for the project, it added benefit to the facility in that we were able to loop into another substation as well, in terms of just adding resiliency. But the infrastructure for the semi fleet is based on its own single service and meter.
When you're doing a fleet project, which is of this scale, you need a dedicated service. You need a dedicated service so that you can take advantage of specific fleet electrification rates. It also serves you well for your LCFS credits, for your accounting, and not commingling that with other load.
In addition to the 750 kilowatt chargers, there are also other assets, other electric assets, as well as charging on site. Those other charging solutions, we were able to pull off of existing power from the facility, from our service. However, given the load of which is required to run the semis and charge at the times that we need, 0 to 80% in 45 minutes, we required a lot more integration and work to be done with that infrastructure.
Good infrastructure design serves the customer and serves the utility.
I think the trick is, what's the right combination to manage that power, that load? How can we set that up in a way that meets operational needs, but is also beneficial for the grid and our customers in keeping infrastructure costs low? Whether that's on-site battery, whether that's automated load management software that's minimizing the power distribution amongst different vehicles and load sharing based on operational needs.
Even though new service applications and process is something that is not new, sometimes working with the utility is not easy, and that really helps when you have an advocate that's in there with you during the project. And so we were there, and the interconnection of the battery was something new for us. And so it was really good that we had that level of collaboration with both Pepsi and Tesla.
This is a very big deal. This is going to revolutionize how the trucking industry goes to market in the future, and PepsiCo is on the forefront of it. It's very, very important that we get it right, and we do everything we can to make sure we run on less.
These types of deployments and the knowledge that you gain from them is hugely valuable for us to see if the tools that we're using are accurate. But perhaps more importantly, on the cost side, how these vehicles are charging, when they're charging, what the overall charging profiles look like day to day. Getting these real world data points are just hugely valuable in the early going here.
One of the biggest values and drivers of efficiency for the Tesla Semi is the tandem axle. It's supported by both the torque axle as well as the efficiency axle. The combination of these two allows for flexibility and range improvement and strength across both a shorter mile local delivery setting and drive, as well as a long haul over the road transport setting.
What's unique about electric trucks is that now we're looking at data around the battery itself and the motor. So data that we look to pull includes the real-time state of charge of that battery, so how much charge is left in the battery at any given time. And then while that vehicle is driving or while it's charging, looking at either the energy being drawn out of that battery for propulsion and the energy that's coming back into the battery when it's charging or when it's regenerative braking.
Regen is a huge benefit for us, I think, overall when it comes to the transformation to electric. We've seen very strong efficiencies and performance based off the regen of the Tesla semis. For example, going across Donner's Pass and back from here to Nevada, we're able to, on the trip back, actually zero out in terms of state of charge improving due to regenerative braking, which for us is massive. That extends range for us in a way that is invaluable. In terms of the regen, the efficiency of the tractor and the routes that we're taking, as well as the drivers that have been enabled, for the past several months, we've been able to stay below 1.7 kilowatt hours per mile in terms of efficiency of this fleet.
I was driving to the Bay Area a couple months ago, and one of these Pepsi Teslas came up beside me, and I had to grab the wheel because I kept looking over. I just couldn't believe it. I had heard the announcement about them being deployed here in Sacramento, but you know, to see them out in the road in the wild was, it was just really great. It's a real sense of pride, I think, for the community.
We're first in the world to have Teslas, and to be part of that is exciting. I start at 2 in the afternoon, so I'm a swing shift driver. I've been driving it for about 3 or 4 months now. And yeah, we get questions every time we go to a different facility. People see us, long haul drivers, they ask questions, and I tell them it's just, you know, it's so comfortable, it's so easy to drive. You're so close to the front of the tractor, your visibility is amazing.
I come from a family of truck drivers. My grandfather, my uncles, my dad, they're all been truck drivers since I grew up on a truck. I love being on the road. It's my favorite thing. I love it. I do about 400 plus miles a day. Being in a good truck, comfortable, drive great, it makes a world of difference on my day, you know. I don't hurt as much. As soon as I got this, I was like, it just feels good.
I actually volunteered because I was really excited to drive the electric truck. I'm not a techie person, so I was I was afraid of the iPhone when it first came out. There's no switches and gauges in the cab of the truck, so I had to strictly go off the monitors, and within a half hour I was comfortable. If you know how to use a smartphone, then you could easily operate one of these trucks. The turn radius is awesome. It's better than in my car. It's a lot more comfortable. They're quieter, they're smoother, they look nicer. They don't look as intimidating. I think when they see other women doing it, then that will give them maybe some motivation to want to get into it. I think with this, they would be a little bit more comfortable considering driving a big rig.
You know, hopefully seeing projects like this and seeing other fleets lead the way will encourage maybe smaller fleets or fleets that have been less excited in the past to kind of come along.
As a PepsiCo organization, we have some very bold emissions reduction ambitions. 75% by 2030 and 100% by 2040 under our PepsiCo Positive umbrella.
Where we are today with the Tesla semis we have, we're close to about 50% of the transformation to electric. When it comes to finishing that out, we will be building through the rest of the depot, putting in expanded charging to satisfy 100% of an electric fleet here.
If you like this content and would like to see more, subscribe.
Load flexibility, being able to interact with our grid in a way that we really haven't seen loads interact with our grid before, is that next frontier in this journey. And I think that will add a significant value proposition to fleets as well as to SMUD as electric utility. I mean, being able to balance out supply and demand is huge. That's any electric utility's end goal.
Currently our plan is to scale. So everything, both light duty, medium duty, heavy duty, we as a company are focused on building out our internal networks in order to extend range, build out new depots.
Outside of just the Tesla charging, we are building out a robust own charging network, which is no small undertaking. So it's an incredible amount of lead time and legwork to go engage the utility, secure the availability, permit and deliver the construction, and erect the hardware itself, followed by commissioning, testing, interoperability. So we're planning about 18 months and trying to work up to 2 years ahead in our total PepsiCo owned infrastructure installation and strategy to continue to support at the time of scaled availability the assets that serve our fleet. Given the construction, given the utility, given the complexity and that lead time, it is easier for us to move a holistic project forward one time, i.e. touch it once. When you're ingraining that much of an energy pool, that many different collaborators to one location, we have now determined, hindsight 2020, it is best and most efficient to go fully deploy EVSE with that first touch. But I think we'll find in our future locations, we develop holistically the entire depot rather than a component or conservative element of it.
If you like this content and would like to see more, subscribe.